Have you ever noticed this incredibly weird quirk of human nature?
Well, I'm sure I have a few in mind, but which ones specifically?
Okay, so think about if you go to a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And your fries are, I don't know, just slightly cold. Or maybe the waiter completely forgets to bring you that extra side of ranch dressing you asked for.
Right, the ultimate tragedy.
Exactly. And when that happens, we will absolutely speak up. Like, people will go online and write a 5-paragraph, aggressively punctuated essay about this minor transgression.
Totally, with the all caps and everything.
Yes. I mean, we become absolute poets of dissatisfaction. But, and here's the weird part, when things go perfectly right, when the food is piping hot, the service is flawless, and someone basically quietly saves our sanity behind the scenes.
Silence.
Absolute silence. Like, we don't say a single word.
Yeah, it's a fascinating asymmetry, really, and it actually has this profound evolutionary basis to it.
Wait, really? Evolution makes us complain about fries?
Basically, yeah. I mean, we are biologically wired with something called a negativity bias. Our brains basically act like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones.
Velcro for the negative. I like that.
Right. Because think about our ancestors. The one who was hyper-vigilant, the one who noticed the single poisonous berry or, the slight rustle in the bushes, that's the one who survived.
Right, because the rustle was probably a threat.
Exactly. But the ancestor who just stopped to deeply appreciate a beautiful sunset, they probably got eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So we are quite literally descended from the critics, not the appreciators.
Wow, okay. That paints such a vivid picture. I mean, we are genetically predisposed to scan for errors, which means we treat competence or, even really exceptional effort as just the baseline.
Right, it's just expected.
It's expected. And so on the rare occasions we do actually actively notice someone's effort today, we usually just hand them this transactional receipt, like a passing, totally distracted thanks as we walk out the door. We treat gratitude like we're just checking a box.
Which, completely undermines the entire purpose of the interaction.
Right. And that is exactly our mission for today's deep dive. We are looking at a fascinating stack of nerds on human behavior, specifically rooted in Dale Carnegie's principles, to figure out how we can stop treating gratitude like a receipt.
Because when we dig into those communication principles, like his core philosophy and how to win friends and influence people, it isn't about manipulation or just polite etiquette.
It's deeper than that.
Much deeper. It is about a fundamental human hunger. People crave sincere appreciation almost as much as they crave food or water. And yet, we constantly starve each other by confusing a transactional acknowledgement with actual sincere validation.
Okay, let's unpack this because we really need to see how this plays out in real life. Let's look at the modern workplace because, that is the natural habitat of the transactional thinking.
Oh, absolutely. The epicenter.
Right. So imagine a scenario where a teammate, let's just call her Sarah, notices that a massive project spreadsheet is an absolute disaster. Like, it's unreadable.
We've all seen those spreadsheets.
Right. So she stays late, completely on her own time, just to tidy it up and reorganize all that data. Now, the default response from a manager or a peer the next morning usually sounds something like, "Oh, thanks for cleaning up the spreadsheet, looks much better now."
And, on the surface, most people would probably defend that response.
Sure, they'd say they thanked her.
Exactly. It's polite. It acknowledges that the task was completed.
It acknowledges the task, yeah. But honestly, it feels exactly like getting an automated payment successful email from an app.
Oh, that's a perfect way to describe it.
You know what I mean? Like, you buy a coffee, your phone buzzes, transaction complete, it starts a function, sure, but it praises the file itself. You are essentially complimenting a digital document, not the actual person who sacrificed their evening to fix it.
And you've hit on the exact mechanism of why generic gratitude just fails. When you thank the spreadsheet, you are creating distance. You're subconsciously establishing this hierarchy.
It's an evaluation.
Yes. It sounds like a manager just approving an employee's output. It signals to Sarah's brain that the loop is closed, the transaction is over. Moving on.
So it's a dead end.
Exactly. Specific, empathetic gratitude, on the other hand, creates peer connection. It shifts the focus away from the object and onto the human agent who did the work.
So if you think of a relationship as an emotional bank account, right? A transactional thanks is like, I don't know, it's like tossing a penny into the account.
Right, it technically counts,
But it doesn't build any real wealth. Pointing out the unseen effort, though, is like making a massive direct deposit. It actively compounds trust because it proves you're actually paying attention.
Exactly.
So how do we make that deposit? Like, how do we practically shift from that automated transaction to actual connection?
Well, we make what we can call the empathetic shift. So instead of the automated receipt, you approach her and you say, Sarah, I noticed you stayed late to reorganize that messy data. It made my client call this morning so much easier because I could find everything instantly. Thank you for putting in that extra effort.
Wow. I mean, just hearing you say that, the energy of that entire interaction is totally different. It feels warm.
It does. And what's fascinating here is the psychology behind why that second version works so effectively on the human brain. You're basically doing two very specific things.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, you are honoring her sacrifice. You aren't just acknowledging a clean grid of numbers. You specifically noted that she stayed late. You recognize the most finite resource she has, which is her time.
Right, you're shining a spotlight on the invisible work.
Precisely. And the second thing, you drew a direct, causal line between her unseen effort and a positive outcome in your own life. You said, it made my client call easier.
Which gives it meaning.
Exactly. In a world where so much knowledge work feels abstract and, frankly, meaningless, you proved to her that her effort didn't just vanish into the digital void, it actually landed somewhere. It helped a real person.
So you transformed a really mundane task, literally data entry, into a testament of her character.
Yes, it's a brilliant way to build psychological safety. You are proving to your team that you don't just value their output, you value their existence.
That is so powerful. And here's the thing, it's one thing to do this at work where we are literally being paid to maintain professional relationships, right? I'd argue this transactional mindset is exponentially more dangerous at home.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because the familiar routines we have with our partners or our families, they just completely blind us to their effort.
Yeah, and neurologically speaking, you are describing habituation. The human brain is actually designed to filter out constant, unchanging stimuli just to save energy.
Wait, really? Just to save energy?
Yep. It's why you stop smelling a strong perfume after wearing it for 10 minutes. The brain just tunes it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do the exact same thing to the people we love most. We stop seeing their daily contributions because they're just always there.
Wow. The brain basically classifies their effort as background noise.
Exactly. Background noise.
That is a terrifying thought. But, I mean, it rings so true. So let's apply this to a really common domestic scenario.
Okay, let's hear.
Say you come home after a really exhausting day. Your partner, or maybe your roommate, they know you've had a rough one. So to help out, they take out the trash, they wipe down the kitchen counters, they basically reset the entire physical space for you.
A great feeling to walk into.
Oh, the best. But the autopilot reaction, the habituated response that I know I am definitely guilty of, is walking in, seeing it, and just throwing out this rushed, distracted, oh, thanks for doing that, while I'm simultaneously kicking off my shoes and scrolling through my phone.
The throwaway thanks. It's the verbal equivalent of a passing nod.
Exactly, a throwaway. So to break out of that habituation, the sources get incredibly specific about the actual physical mechanics of how to deliver gratitude. It's not just about drafting a better script, is it?
No, not at all. It's about how you use your body and your voice.
Yeah.
Because you cannot disrupt a neurological habit with the exact same physical pattern.
Yeah.
You have to force the moment to hold still.
Hold still.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, the first step is physically stopping whatever else you are doing. You cannot deliver sincere appreciation while you're looking at a screen or, walking away into another room.
So you literally have to put the phone down.
You put the phone down, you turn your physical body toward them, and you have to establish direct eye contact. This actually triggers mirror neurons in both of your brains, which signals that a meaningful social exchange is happening.
That makes so much sense. And what about the voice?
Next, you need to adopt a slightly softer tone of voice, dropping the pitch just a bit, which signals safety to the other person's nervous system. And most crucially, and this is where most people fail, you have to slow down the pacing of your words.
Because when we're transactional, we speak quickly just to get it over with.
Right, we rush through it. But slowing down gives the words actual physical weight. You utilize intentional pauses to let the gratitude truly land.
Okay, I want to hear what that actually sounds like in practice. Like for the kitchen scenario we just talked about. Sure, it sounds like this. Hey, I know you were exhausted after your meetings today too. It meant so much to walk in and see the clean kitchen. Thank you for taking care of it.
Okay, I feel that. And here's where it gets really interesting. I have to push back on this just a little bit, playing devil's advocate for the listener here.
Bring it on.
I can hear someone out there thinking, look, I love my partner, but is it honestly realistic to have a deep, soul-bearing, intense eye contact emotional moment over taking out the garbage every single Tuesday? Like, isn't that exhausting in its own way? Sometimes garbage is just garbage.
You know, that is a completely fair pushback. And the goal here is absolutely not to create melodrama over every single household chore.
Right, we're not aiming for an Oscar performance for taking out the recycling.
Exactly. We aren't trying to turn a Tuesday night into a theatrical event, but we do need to recognize what is actually happening beneath the surface of that chore. We need to define what we are actually thanking them for.
Unpack that for me. What is beneath the surface of the garbage?
Well, we need to look at the concept of emotional labor. Now, that term gets thrown around a lot on the internet to just mean, like, feeling tired. But in psychology, emotional labor and cognitive load are about the invisible work of managing a household's harmony.
The mental bandwidth.
Right, is the bandwidth required to anticipate someone else's needs. When your partner takes out the trash and wipes the counters, the actual physical execution of that task is maybe only about 20% of the work.
So the other 80% is what, the noticing and the planning?
Exactly. They had to notice the trash was full. They had to remember that tomorrow is garbage day. They had to recognize that you were having a terrible day, and then actively decide to take on the task to spare you the stress.
Oh, wow.
So when you just toss a generic thanks at them while you're still staring at your phone, you are only acknowledging the final 20%, the literal physical movement of the trash bag.
I see. So the trash is really just the vehicle for the care.
Yes, exactly. When you slow down, look them in the eye, and acknowledge their own exhaustion, you are validating that other 80%. You are validating the cognitive load and their underlying care for you.
You're saying, I see the invisible effort it takes to love me and live with me.
And I don't take it for granted.
Right.
It turns a mundane chore into this really brief, powerful moment of connection.
You know, this completely reframes how we think about relationship failures. Like, we always assume relationships fall apart because of massive dramatic blow-ups, right?
Betrayals, huge arguments.
Yeah, but in reality, it's usually just a slow, agonizing fade of feeling unappreciated. It's like the death of a relationship by 1,000 tiny paper cuts of being ignored.
Yeah.
When we withhold that specific appreciation, we are essentially telling the other person that their emotional labor is just worthless.
Which brings us to the core truth driving all of this, really. Whether you're dealing with a coworker, a romantic partner, or even just a stranger, every single human being walks around carrying an invisible sign around their neck. And that sign simply says, "Make me feel important."
Make me feel important. It sounds almost, I don't know, almost childlike, doesn't it?
It does, but neurologically, we're desperate for it. We never outgrow it. Think about the CEO of a massive Fortune 500 company, the barista handing you your morning coffee, your child, or your spouse.
They all wear the sign.
Every single one of them is wearing that exact same invisible sign. The tragedy of generic praise, the, thanks for the spreadsheet or the quick nod for the clean kitchen, is that it completely ignores the sign.
It treats the person like a mechanism, like an appliance just completing a task.
Yes, and it goes right back to your idea of the automated receipt. An appliance doesn't need to feel important.
Right, a dishwasher doesn't need validation for washing the dishes.
But a human being does. Sincere appreciation reads the sign. It looks past the spreadsheet, it looks past the wipe-down counters, and it acknowledges the complex human being standing right in front of you.
So what does this all mean for us? Like, if we really master this, we are essentially hacking the human desire to be valued, right?
Yes, but you're doing it in a completely authentic, ethical way. You aren't manipulating anyone. You aren't making up fake compliments just to get ahead. You are simply shining a light on the reality that is already there. You're articulating the positive things that usually just go unsaid.
It forces us to act as editors of our own attention. Like, we have to actively choose to stop being those poets of dissatisfaction we talked about at the very beginning.
Right. No more 5-paragraph essays about cold fries in our heads.
Exactly. We have to use that exact same mental energy to spot the quiet, competent, unseen efforts happening all around us.
And it requires vigilance. You have to train your brain to fight its own negativity bias. You have to purposefully scan your environment for things going right.
And when you find them, you must deploy the mechanics we discussed.
Right. Drop the pitch of your voice, make the eye contact, slow your pacing, and connect their unseen effort to a positive outcome.
Okay, let's pull all of these threads together into something actionable. If we summarize the core lesson from our deep dive today, it really comes down to a fundamental shift in how we handle our daily interactions. We must stop treating gratitude like a push notification.
Absolutely.
The next time someone hands you a completed task or does something to make your life just a fraction of an ounce easier, catch yourself before you offer that hurried transactional nod. Force the moment to hold still.
And for you listening, I want to offer a very practical challenge for today. Sometime in the next 24 hours, I want you to deliberately look for one small, unseen effort from someone in your life.
Just one thing.
Just one. It could be a colleague who quietly organized a messy digital folder, a partner who made sure the coffee maker was prepped for the morning, or even a neighbor who pulled your trash bin up the driveway.
Find that invisible work.
Find it and spotlight it with a warm, genuine, specific word of thanks. Try the empathetic shift. Remember the vocal mechanics we talked about? Pause, make the eye contact, slow down, read their invisible sign. If you make this a daily habit, watch how it radically changes the foundation of your relationships.
Because people will naturally gravitate toward you.
Right, because you give them the one thing they're totally starving for, the feeling of being genuinely seen.
It is a literal superpower, and it costs absolutely nothing to use. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final, really provocative thought to mull over.
This is an important one.
Yeah. We've spent this entire time exploring how to appreciate others, right? How to fight our evolutionary biases, to read their invisible signs and validate their emotional labor. But consider this. What if the person you are most intensely transactional with is actually yourself?
It's a profoundly important question. We are often our own harshest critics.
We really are. Think about your own internal monologue. When was the last time you paused, even for a single moment, to genuinely appreciate your own unseen efforts?
Your own resilience on a difficult day.
Exactly. How often do you just treat your own daily survival, your own invisible hard work, as just a passing checklist item? We are so incredibly quick to write a 5-paragraph Yelp review of our own flaws, our mistakes, and awkward moments.
We do it all the time.
But when we quietly save our own sanity behind the scenes, when we push through exhaustion to get things done, we give ourselves nothing but silence. Maybe the first step in learning how to stop treating others like a transactional receipt is to stop treating our own lives like one too.